Hello, and welcome to Math Matters. I'm Mrs. Hale, and today we are going to learn about describing 3D solid shapes, specifically a cube, a rectangular prism, and a sphere. Take a few minutes and gather a box like a tissue box or a cereal box that you can use during our lesson today. I will give you 2 minutes to see if you can find a box. You have about 1 more minute to see if you can find a box of any size or shape that we can use today during our lesson. Okay, come on back. If you haven't found a box, it's okay. You'll have time to look for a box during other parts of your day. At the end of this second grade lesson, you'll know that you have met today's learning goal if you are able to describe three-dimensional shapes by the number of edges, vertices, and the types of faces on the solid shape. We are going to review what you know about plane shapes first. One way to describe plane shapes is by the number of sides. So I'm going to show you some pictures. Your job is to figure out how many sides there are in all. How many sides do you see? Here comes the first one. How many sides do you see? I see 6 sides. There are 3 sides on one triangle and 3 sides on the other. So I see 6 sides. I'm going to show you a second image. How many sides do you see? I see 12 sides. We're going to try another one. Look at this picture and tell me how many sides you see. I see 7 sides. There are 4 sides on the square and 3 sides on a triangle. Altogether, that's 7 sides. Let's Let's try some more. How many sides do you see? I see 6 sides. Let's try one more. How many sides do you see? Can you use the one we just did to help with this one? I see 10 sides. A square has 4 sides, and there are 2 triangles. I know from the last one that 2 triangles have 6 sides. So 6 sides and 4 sides is a total of 10 sides. Now we are going to explore some solid shapes. Remember, a solid shape is a three-dimensional figure having length, width, and height. You can pick them up and hold them in your hand. There are 3 solid shapes for you to know. Practice saying the names with me. A cube, a rectangular prism, and a sphere. Now it's your turn. The first one you say after me. A cube, your turn. The second shape is a rectangular prism. Your turn. Say rectangular prism. And the third solid is a sphere. Your turn. Say sphere. On the next 3 sides, we will review some important vocabulary. A face is any flat side of a solid figure. What shape are the faces of this cube? The faces of the cube are in light blue. The faces of a cube are a square. Look at the rectangular prism. What shape are the faces of this rectangular prism? The faces of a rectangular prism are rectangles. If you are able to find a box at your house, see if you can touch the faces and say what shape the face is on your box. The next important word we have to learn is edge. The edge is the line segment where 2 faces of a solid figure intersect. All of the red lines are edges. If you are able to find a box at your house, see if you can touch the edges along your box. The third word is vertex, or many of them are called vertices. In solid figures, a vertex is the point where edges meet. All of the blue dots are vertices. If you were able to find a box at your house. See if you can touch and count the vertices on the box that you have at home. Let's practice describing a cube. A cube has 6 square faces. There are 4 faces that go around, 1 face on the top and 1 face on the bottom. A cube also has 8 vertices. There are 4 vertices on the top and 4 vertices on the bottom. A cube has 12 edges. There are 4 edges around the middle, 4 edges on the top, and 4 edges on the bottom. While you are at home today, see if you can find some examples of cubes. Some things that are cubes include a Rubik's Cube, dice, and blocks. If you can find a cube, practice touching and counting the names of the faces, edges, and vertices. Keeping track of edges and vertices can be tough, but the more you practice, the easier it will become. Let's practice describing a rectangular prism. If you are able to find a box at home, you can use it to explore with me. A rectangular prism has 6 rectangular faces. See if you can touch the faces on the box that you have at home. There's 1 face on the top, 4 faces around the prism, and 1 face on the bottom. Did you touch and count the faces on your box? What shape are the faces of your box? Now let's look at vertices. A rectangular prism has 8 vertices. There are 4 vertices on the top and 4 vertices on the bottom. Can you touch and count the vertices on your box? And finally, a rectangular prism has 12 edges. There are 4 edges on the top, 4 edges around the middle, and 4 edges on the bottom. If you have a box with you, can you touch and count the edges on your box? While you are at home today, see if you can find some examples of rectangular prisms. Some things that are a rectangular prism include a cereal box, a shoebox, a tissue box, and packing boxes. Rectangular prisms come in many different sizes. A sphere is a special solid figure. A sphere has 0 faces, a sphere has 0 edges, and a sphere has 0 vertices. While you are at home today, see if you can find some examples of spheres. Some things that are spheres include a tennis ball, a soccer ball, oranges, and marbles. Spheres come in many different sizes. If you can find a sphere, Practice describing how many faces, edges, and vertices there are. The more you practice, the easier it will become. Let's practice. I will choose a solid shape. See if you can describe that shape using the words faces, edges, and vertices. Let's start with a tennis ball. A tennis ball is a blank. Is it a sphere, a cube, or a rectangular prism? A tennis ball is a sphere. Now, stop and think about the faces, edges, and vertices of a tennis ball. See if you can fill in each of these sentences. It has blank faces. It has blank edges. It has blank vertices. You try it. A tennis ball has 0 faces, it has 0 edges, and it has 0 vertices. How did you do? Let's try another one. Let's look at a tissue box. Fill in the sentence. A tissue box is a blank. Is it a sphere, a cube, or a rectangular prism? A tissue box is a rectangular prism. Stop and think about what shape the faces are and how many there are. A tissue box has 6 faces. Did you think about the shape of those faces? Many tissue boxes have faces that are rectangles. Stop and think about how many edges the tissue box has. A tissue box has 12 edges. Now, think about how many vertices there are on a tissue box. It has 8 vertices. How did you do? How did you do today working towards our learning goals? Use your thumb to reflect on your learning and your understanding. I'm going to read a sentence and you show your understanding with your thumb. Thumbs up, I got it. Thumb sideways, I'm still practicing. And thumbs down, I need help from a grown-up. I can describe a cube, a rectangular prism, and a sphere by the number of edges, vertices, and types of faces on the solid figure. In today's episode of Math Matters, we learned about how to describe three-dimensional figures by the number of edges, vertices, and types of faces on the solid shape. Try to look for solid shapes at home today and practice describing them. I'm Mrs. Hale, and I hope you have a great day and keep on counting.